Well, good evening, everybody. This is Reptile News, and we're just doing a quick little live stream just to test to see what's going on. We do a little bit of talk about reptiles as well. It might be a little bit rough tonight because I'm normally on another channel. And yeah, let me just get my co-host on here up on the screen. Hi, Colin. How are you going, mate?
G'day, mate.
Sounding nice over there with your matching little microphone.
We must know the same microphone guy.
So we've got one person viewing. I'm not sure if that's one of us, but it might pick up. But I'm not holding my breath.
It'll build.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Yeah, people are around. It's a little bit unscheduled. I think we might be doing.
Have you scheduled for this at all?
No, I've never made a schedule for it.
You just get on here and yell at people.
Oh, no, I haven't. I actually haven't. I actually did a few shows in early January, and but the other channel took off. You know, the Carpet Pythons channel took a little bit of priority, and now I feel that this page is at the size now where people deserve the news and they want to know about reptiles, and they want to see everything about reptiles and fancy pictures and pretty pictures of pretty reptiles all around the world. That's why I got you. That's why I got you on board now, so we can talk reptiles in our spare time.
Yep.
Yeah. Just so tell me a little bit about yourself. If you want to go, just give me, how did you get into reptiles? We might as well just give a little bit of background about yourself, Colin.
Myself, got a blue tongue when I was a young fella. Actually, probably the first exposure to reptiles for me was like that earliest thing I can remember is we had a Dalmatian. And hey Rob, how you going, mate?
How you going, mate?
He's like lurking.
He's the stalker.
Yeah, so we had a Dalmatian. It was, family pet.
Yeah.
And it got bit by a brown snake and died.
Yeah.
And that was my first sort of exposure to reptiles. And then from there, got a blue tongue, and the rest is history.
All right. And
yeah.
I think most Aussies start with the old blue tongue. I've heard a lot of stories of people having blue tongues that are in their 10, 15 years old. Rob's got a little smiley face with little tears coming out of it. You know, I don't do those smiley faces. I just don't do.
You got a big problem about emojis.
It's taken away the human ability to actually communicate correctly. So
they can be misconstrued. So.
Yeah, but the same goes for the written text, you know. I've written messages and I've meant nothing by it, and people have taken offense, but you know me.
Yeah.
I do come across a bit strong every now and then, you know. And
no, but people say that, but it's just knowing South Africans. You know, you sound abrasive, but that's just how you speak English. So.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Yeah, I don't mean to hurt people's feelings, but sometimes it just happens.
There are some sunflowers out there,
and it seems to be getting worse and worse with in time. It's everybody gets offended these days. So sorry for anybody that's watching this. We'll get into the groove. This was very unplanned. Normally I'm Mr. Moves on behind the camera, but we're just sort of feeling testing the waters here. I'm seeing if I have to just. Delete Colin's stream from this stream while we're going. We're just testing, see if it's any good. Yeah, you need a hug. Look, we've got one loyal viewer. Yeah, we're going up to 7. Let's see, everybody. Tell your friends that we're going live. This is a surprise attack from the Reptile News crew.
So, this is Reptile News. So, I've been I'm an avid YouTube watcher.
Yeah.
So I've been watching Brian Barczyk's Reptarium expansion. Have you been watching that at all?
Oh yeah. I've been following that since they started talking. Since he started talking about Reptarium originally, when he went and saw Stuart from Universal Rocks.
Yeah,
I mean, we all know Universal Rocks. I mean, for the last how long have they been in? They moved across to America, but they originated in Australia.
Yeah, he's an Aussie, Stuart. Yeah.
Yeah, and you find Universal Rocks at all the decent pond companies that sell outdoor ponds and stuff like that. You find the Universal Rocks range, and I remember seeing that, and I went, man, this is going to be good if he's going to use Universal Rocks to deck out his cages. And this all came about from all that heat that he got online for keeping, and like Brian's copped a lot of shit over the years.
He took it all on board and
Yeah.
and then made the decision to go where he's going, and
Yeah.
it's like awesome to watch,
Oh,
'Cause
it's
I've seen Brian's old facility. I haven't seen his new one,
Yeah.
but like the old one was massive. Like it was a big concern.
Mm-hmm.
And I was speaking to Brian the other day. He said he doesn't. He just does the YouTube stuff now in the Reptarium.
Yeah.
Laurie does BHB.
Yeah.
And they don't go to expos anymore, which I thought was a bit bizarre, but they don't.
But I guess the problem is with being so big and exposed on YouTube. That I can imagine that wears you down, because a lot of people are just looking for a way to break somebody down that's in the spotlight like that. And from looking at the way he set up the Reptarium, man, those cages are immaculate. The way that the animals are maintained are spot on. I mean, there is a lot of show, but you have to be a showman to be successful on a channel, on the television. I mean, look at Steve Irwin. He was a showman. He was serious at heart. I mean, he knew his stuff. But I mean, he needed to be a showman to catch the attention of the world. And I mean, at the end of the day, it is the price you pay to be in the public's eye, But man, I love the cages. I love the new setup that he's got. I mean, you look at that anaconda, just the fact that you can walk into those enclosures, like that show today. You just mentioned it, retic that he put in there.
He put one of his retics, one of the first animals, into its new cage, and it's like a double-sided glass.
And you could just see, people. I mean, I'm a big proponent for ease of care. If you've got a large collection, then unfortunately having a system like tubs and racks is it's a necessary evil to maintain a large collection. But if you've got low numbers, I think you could just see the response of that retic, going into a cage that had a height in it. I mean, that snake was up there on skinny branches and, draping around, he did a time lapse. And what I pick up is I see, it didn't just go and crawl into a corner and sit there and rest. The snake was literally cruising around for the length of the time lapse. And, we both know how time lapses work. There probably would have been 45 minutes worth of time lapse there. And that snake was cruising around all the time and eventually went and, had to lay down and basked, because it probably wore down its thermal reserves.
That snake was like, spent its whole life in a tub. So,
yeah.
So has a natural instinct to climb
and so taking it on board and listening to the people's the criticism, and a lot of it was bullshit. I mean, let's face it, a lot of people just want to cry me a river because it's they just want to complain and they're jealous and stuff like that. But the fact that he's making it and I mean, I can't think that would be cheap. There's no way that
no, he told me the figures and it's crazy.
It is. That would be mind-blowing numbers. Did you ever see how Jay Brewer showed as well a video on his channel about how they do that concreting wall stuff in his facility?
Yeah, I sent Jay a message because I was looking at because I want to build some cages here for myself, and because the Universal is pretty hard to get in Australia, I've found a place where I can get it in a local nursery.
Yeah.
I looked for that video. I can't find it, so you'll have to send me the link.
Yeah, it was pretty. I think
Facebook's the worst. Like if it's posted to Facebook, you'll never find it again.
Yeah, I think they put a layer. They do use a bit of timber and stuff, and then they concrete that. They put like a layer of mesh or something over that, and they concrete that mesh, and then they work that down into the shape that you need to have to like in the shape that they want. But I mean, you can rinse it off. You wanted to do that for your scrub pythons, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah,
it would look nice with monitors as well. Those with any reptile. I mean, as soon as you put them in an environment where they where you can see their natural camouflage at work and their natural behavior. I mean, it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
So we watching. I think he's early on in the expansions, and I mean, I saw that I watched the videos how they put. I mean, that fascinates me how they build that stuff. Did you watch the videos how they actually make the cages where it's like a jigsaw? It's so clever.
So it's laser cut, or flow jet cut, and you think no way like that'll be like enough integral strength, but there's that foam and stuff that Stuart sprays in there, and
Yeah.
it all adds to it. So
No, it's good luck to him for the whole expansion. I think
Yeah.
for what he does, and it's a niche market where he is. It's the perfect thing for. It's in a cold area as well, so people wouldn't see those type of reptiles just running around outside. They'd
Yeah,
probably
that's
be
right.
dead during winter time if they ever escaped.
That's right. Yeah.
But
Brian keeps his sulcata outside
yeah.
in the summer months, and then the winter months it lives in BHB. Just
Yeah,
crawling around.
I saw he got a Galapagos. Was it an Aldabra tortoise that he's got?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the
So
whole.
it's, like I said to him, I list off a couple of things. Are you getting this for the Reptarium for the new bit? And he's getting a lot of cool stuff that's pretty rare. So
Yeah. Well, I guess the fact that he's on that it's on YouTube as well, it gives the species a bit of exposure as well that you wouldn't just normally find anywhere else. It's different seeing an animal on a video than it is just seeing a fleeting picture on Facebook, and then, as you said, it disappears in the masses of other images that scroll past our screens. So
yeah, I find Facebook now the hardest social media thing to like keep up with stuff, because when you're following a lot of pages, you just lose stuff. So I find myself going towards YouTube.
And it's hard. It's much harder to put. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we did to get this all going up and going. I mean, I sat on YouTube for a couple of hours this afternoon and just Googled for specific words to find, like, I'd like to use GoPros and stuff, and I just saw that GoPro 8 you can just stream directly to Facebook from your phone. Use your phones. Yeah. It's a crazy time for us reptile keepers and people in general to be able to just hit a button
and share.
and you go across the world. The whole world can see you. I mean, except in North Korea, with I mean, we want to be on Facebook there, some random shit out of my mouth. That stuff happens. It happens, random stuff, and so there's a few guys to look at. I saw who else did I see? Justin Kabilko with all the ball pythons. He just did an expansion, a new building, and it's it's sickening to see just how wonderful these top guys in the reptile industry over in and he's a young guy. I think he's probably your age, Justin Kabilko. And he just started with the correct choices. He just had a vision and he had insight into how the genetics work. And he showed photos of his first floor mat, his first expo sign. And it's so basic. But he had, from listening, I remembered listening to a story on reptile, the old reptile radio that the Americans had. He was on one of the podcasts of one of those shows. I can't remember what it was. But they spoke to him, and he was telling how he was just lucky with some of the first stuff that he invested in, that he hit the odds and he made visuals, and that sort of propelled him past the rest of the guys. It's like Don Patterson in Canada as well. Yep. Some guys are just really, really lucky with the combinations that they make with the snakes that they breed, and then that puts them ahead of the pack. And then clever decisions after that, and just being a good businessman and an honest businessman and integrity and stuff like. I mean, that's the biggest thing about that. Here we go, Joe Rob again, our one viewer tonight. He's still there.
He's wear headphones in the dark or something, is he?
Yeah, we need another South African. I reckon we need another South African, and then we need another Aussie, and we can hold a round table discussion about where's better to live, Australia or South Africa.
We already know that.
Definitely, I know. It's non-debatable, It's South Africa. Thanks, mate. Yeah, that's why we're all here. Bloody hell. And there's a lot of South Africans. There's actually
it's a nice place to visit.
Yeah, there's a lot of and of course, man. I mean, we're not here because we want to be here. They I couldn't believe that we were at the Springboks won the rugby. I was like, oh, bloody hell, why? I want to be there with all the marches and stuff.
Yeah.
Just for my bloody shirt. Oh yeah, well, you can just wait for your shirt. You're not getting that.
I don't even have one.
Nobody gets a shirt unless you need to do something. Favors for favors,
Oh yeah.
But what I was saying, for about Justin. I mean, and then he went through that, and the facility, Colin. It is, you know, we here in Australia,
But the
people
technology is there as well. You know?
and the money. You know, like you go, people in Australia talk about their facility,
Yeah, yeah.
and you go, okay. There's a few guys with, I'd say, sort of like a shed, you know, big shed maybe, but facilities, I don't know. This guy had granite waterfall tables, you know, that flowing,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
But that's the funny thing. Like he's done an expansion for ball pythons, and
Yeah.
when I was there a few years ago, or a while ago now,
Who's that?
um, just in general,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Justin, he's spending money on a new facility to breed ball pythons.
Yeah.
You know, people were saying, "Oh, ball pythons were dead and it's over."
Exactly. Yep.
It's not. You know.
They were saying that, and then they just kept going. The guys, a lot of guys got out of it, and because a lot of guys got out of it, it strengthened the market again. You know, people were so scared about, and you know, it just always just boiled down to clever business. In the end,
right, yeah.
Did you ever meet Justin when you were over there?
No, I don't think I have. No.
No, I don't think he was as big as he was when you guys did all those the tours over on that side.
Yeah.
But man, there's a lot of. I mean, at least you know, like I'm hoping you can organise. I'm sure you will. We can organise a few guys to come on here and have a chat. I'm keen. I saw you, Tom Crutchfield was commenting on a few things of yours the other day, and it'd be interesting to have a chat to him. He's got, you know, he's done some stuff, and
he's got some stuff. He's been there and he's done that.
Yeah, and
have you watched the Banged Up Abroad? I think it's called Banged Up Abroad here.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Crutchfield.
Yeah, I saw, but you see, people can move on if they want to, you know. And the thing is, people can learn from their mistakes, and I think a lot of people want to hold people accountable for the rest of their life for stuff that they messed up on, you know.
Yeah.
I'm the same, you know. I'm messed up, and you know,
like stuff.
And
people get on with it.
Yeah. But then scaleless ball pythons popped up. Yeah, scaleless.
I thought they would have done more with that, but it doesn't. I think the mortality is a bit of a problem with it. So.
Oh, I watched. the Freedom Breeder's got a channel, and Lindsay's son. What's his name? Lindsay Johnson's son was interviewing. He was interviewing Bob Clark at that NARBC show, the last one that was on, and they were looking at the scalers there, and they was talking about, people were saying that the scalers ball pythons go like 8 months before they die.
Yeah.
And Bob, or 80 centimeters or something like that. It was either 8 months or 80 centimeters. I can't remember. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I've seen a large one. Like there's, it's the same old thing. There might be one in a few thousand that get there, you know.
Oh, but then they were discussing that there was this rumor that the scaleless ball males weren't surviving and they couldn't mate. And then he pulled out big ones, and they were saying, no, there doesn't seem to be issues with.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was all
like scale death adder saying they don't mate and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but you have to remember, you know, every new mutation that comes out, people definitely want to carry on about
the flaws.
You know, about the flaws and how it's non-viable. If they're not in that game, they'll carry on about how it's non-viable. You know, it's how it works.
Oh, it's no good. I wouldn't buy it.
Oh yeah, James
First
Denell.
one trying to rip it off someone.
You can see the comments there, yeah, in front of you.
I can, yeah.
Yeah, James says 800 grams. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, but see, I'm not too. I take stuff in. It's just that a mass of information in this head of mine. You know, sometimes gets mixed. Highly intelligent. Highly intelligent. You know, that's just what you get when you're highly intelligent. You know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he was talking about that. So it's interesting, man. I love seeing these. I think for anybody to look at those facilities and not be a little bit jealous, you know, it's just human nature.
Even the gear they got, you know, like we get racks here from Snake Racks Australia from Steve, but you know they've got so many different versions of different products that we just don't get here, you know.
Yeah, I'll just put your sound up a bit because you're a little bit in the
Sorry,
dark.
I've moved away from my microphone.
No, you're good now. You're good.
I don't have the fancy little rig like you've got.
I look after my mates, you know. I look after them. So I hope there's 11 viewers now. Hi guys, thanks for joining in. We're just having a little bit of a.
They're as sad as us, you know, talking about reptiles on a Saturday night.
actually, the reptiles, the reptile news channel actually has the largest proportion of the viewers of the or followers of this page is Australian.
Okay.
And then I think it goes. America is the next, and then South Africa is up there in the top 3. And then because originally when I set up the channel, I did a lot of targeted marketing. So I chose countries that spoke English,
Yep.
and then I added a few of the China seems to be a hotspot at the moment for lots of things, but but the Chinese industry at the moment for reptiles, they are buying up. I've heard they go to the expos in Ham and they buy up everything at those expos that are off-sites and they send them. So the pet industry for reptiles, I hope it's for the pet industry in China,
Yeah.
is very strong at the moment. I mean, the guys don't even get a chance to buy stuff. Things like blue tongues and corn snakes and all those type of things. Man, they straight across,
They stopped eating them and keep them as pets now. So
I hope so. I hope so. It'd be a good
Yeah.
thing. It'd be a good thing if Asia would wake up from some of the false information that they've got about, stuff like rhino horn and things like that. That's just
Yeah.
decimating
hey,
populations
I've
across.
seen something in the news. They outlawed it the other day.
What?
Actually, China has.
What
Someone-
rhino
some-
horn?
Someone will correct us on here. I
Oh.
swear I seen on the news that, like TV, that China has banned the trafficking of or bringing in of rhino horn.
Yeah. But then, does that actually stop it from
Oh, it won't
happening?
stop it.
Nah,
No.
it makes it a little bit harder, but there's always ways. It probably just inflate the price of things like rhino. Look at us talking about we'll talk about anything on this
Talk
channel,
about
really.
anything on this channel.
Yeah, it's a test stream. So for those of you that get upset that we're not talking about reptiles, we'll get some.
Just gonna have to get upset.
We'll get some big guns on here to talk. We'll get Rob McMillan on here to come and talk about his adventures in Facebook land. Yeah.
You can just drive to my house. Next to
You
me.
two can go and sit there, little peanut gallery, and sit
Yeah.
next to each other and have a little chit chat. Huh? Here we go.
Yeah.
That sadly will drive the black market up. Yeah, Rob. Yeah, isn't
Will.
it? Yeah, it's true story. True story. He hasn't heard that conversation. There's a little bit of lag behind the feed, so
There
he's
is a lag.
he's probably only hearing what we said just now.
Yeah. No, you write a comment and then there's about 10-second, 15-second lag or something.
Yeah, so we in the future at Reptile News. We are actually. We'll be the first. We'll be the first channel to cover anything that happens across the world because we are the head in time. That we're the first countries to get sunlight in the day.
What the thing I was talking to you before about was this iguana, the legislation they're bringing in Florida. Is it Florida only, or
Yeah, Florida.
about tegus and is it iguanas as well?
Yep. Was it?
Banning.
I think it's iguanas and tegus. I think they're more upset about tegus
Yeah.
because tegus, there's a lot of big breeders up there, but iguanas as well. You got Thai Park there, but I think that's probably one of the reasons why Thai is moving into that iguana land that he's making, so
Yeah.
he can use the legislation to be a zoo.
When I was there, he has 50 acres and
Yeah.
he had 25 acres, which was his lizard park at the time.
Yeah.
And he said the other 25 I'm going to make into a zoo one day once my kids I have grandkids, and that started for him.
Yeah.
Boom, man of his word, he started. Unless Ty's a man that's in the know, he might have known about it. So
James says it's only the green iguana. Are you sure?
yeah, it is. It's only the green iguana, but that's all albinos.
But they thinking. I mean, once they it's
They
the
get one
same.
in the door.
Yeah, if they get that foot in there, it means they can roll.
This is a problem I see is if America goes this way, which they already have
Yeah.
on a number of things, like our politicians will just cut and paste,
Yeah. It's definitely something to worry about.
Yeah.
I
But
don't think
the
we've
old
got.
Australian thing, it won't affect me. Like I'm in Queensland, it won't affect me. I'm in South Australia. Well,
Yeah.
it will.
Yeah. But the thing is, there as well, I think, and I'm being devil's advocate here. They've got cold nights in Florida that gets below a certain temperature, and the green iguanas start falling out of the trees in their hundreds.
Yeah.
You don't see that ever happening in Australia. Just because the laws were so tight. But then originally, you can look at the cane toads. The problem with the cane toads were that they were released in an area where it suits reproduction for amphibians.
Yeah.
and it never gets cold, so nothing gets killed off, and the cane toads are just tough. And the cane toads originally was it was an introduced species by the government. It wasn't the local reptile keepers that did that, you know.
We're getting cane toads down here now.
Oh, really? They've moved down that far?
Yeah, they pop up. So I'd assume they're coming in sugarcane mulch or something like that from up north,
Bloody hell.
to the nurseries.
It'd be warm enough. It'd be warm enough there for them to survive there, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yep.
Yes,
and the cold, like you said, it wouldn't affect them. They just burrow,
Yeah, true. They're tough. They're hardy, though. I mean,
oh yeah,
I've seen videos of people doing weird shit with those toads, and they're just tough as nails, you know.
Yeah.
I saw the best thing I ever saw. The coolest thing I ever heard was one of my professors at university when I was doing when I was studying postgraduate master's degree. I never finished it, but that's a long story. He was talking about he did a thesis on rinkles, those African spitting cobras, the black with the white bands.
Yeah.
And he said they in one of the animal rooms that they kept the rinkles in, one of the cooling devices, so there was an issue with the cooling in one of the cages, and the snake actually, its head froze to the device it was keeping, or it got out in the room, and it actually, one of the machines in there was that cold that the snake's head actually froze onto the machine.
Okay.
And they came in, fixed the machine, warmed it up and whatever, took the snake away. They thought he was dead, and then that snake over a few hours defrosted and he was okay.
So put all the blood out of its head into its heart, I guess. The brain is meant to tell it to fire. So
yeah, but they some reptiles have got proteins in their blood that make their blood it doesn't break the cells when it freezes.
Right.
So
okay.
they can. So an it's called like antifreeze in their blood. That makes it.
Like garter snakes would be the same, isn't they?
Yeah, so they can freeze and then defrost, and they're right. You try that with anything else, and they won't survive. But I thought that was a funny. I don't know why that just popped him out. It's random stuff. You'll see me.
You just blacked out, did you?
Yeah, I just get these brainwaves that just pop in, and then I don't have a filter. Just just comes out in the wash. The mouth just runs. So yeah.
It will just be a massive blanket ban.
Oh, it's Mr. Positivity again there, Rob. Come on, mate.
Listen,
a bloody blanket ban.
Just get your reptile license.
Yeah,
and start buying reptiles.
Oh, has he still not got his reptile license? I mean, come on.
No, hopefully his wife's not listening. So.
Oh, yeah, mum's the word. We run a discreet service here at Reptile News. We run a very discreet show. We'll wrap it up for you in a little present and send it off,
Yeah.
With no name on the box, just an address, for Rob's eyes only, Tell me what is the process now for the people that's not in Australia? So in Victoria, we'll give a rundown of our licensing system because
I think Victorian licensing.
Oh, I know the licensing system well, yeah. I know how to get in trouble with the licensing system too. In Australia, so for the people,
why this works because you can take a joke. So
yeah, of course, thick
Men.
skin like water off a duck's back. Oh, yeah, is that the right saying? Yeah,
that's it.
So here we go. I've moved away from the wife, preempting the Sydney Expo tomorrow. Oh yes, he's probably in a little tent sitting outside.
Huh? So it's the Sydney Expo tomorrow. Is the Victorian one VHS next weekend?
Yeah, I'll be going to that. Hopefully.
Going to that one.
Oh, hopefully they let me through the door. I've been a bit critical about things in Australia recently. I hope I haven't gotten myself banned. It's quite a trip down there, and to just have to turn around and spend all that money on the tolls would be a terrible loss for me.
Yeah, you just need to calm down.
I'd be reporting from the outside of the building and complaining about it,
Flight in.
There was something. So in Victoria, in Australia, Australia is governed by a whole bunch of. There's how many states are there in Australia?
Too many.
Yeah. Okay. And every state has got their own licensing system when it comes to reptiles. So for those of you that are watching now that you're non-Australian, this is just a breakdown of how we keep reptiles in Australia. So what you do in Victoria is you fill in a form. You go online, you download a form for a basic wildlife license or an advanced license. Now, the funny thing is, on an advanced license, you can keep saltwater crocodiles up to a certain size. Yeah. And I think it's one of the few states in Australia that you can keep saltwater crocodiles. But on the other side, you're not allowed to keep Parentes. That defeats, I don't understand how that works. Okay. So you can keep a saltwater crocodile that can kill you, but a Parente lizard, it's a type of monitor you're not allowed to keep. Okay. So you fill in that form.
I can see the science behind that.
The science, nonsense. Yeah. So, so what happens is you go online, you choose your license that you want. So if you want an advanced license, you pay like 100, and I think it's ridiculous money now. I think it's like 108. I don't know. I haven't had a license in many years.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, but there's I think it's like for 3 years. I think it's like $300 or $400 for a license.
But isn't there reptiles that aren't on license?
Yeah, there's stuff that you don't need a license for, like blue tongues and short-necked turtles and stuff. All the stuff that nobody wants to keep, you can keep here without a license.
Green tree frogs, they're off license?
No, I think they're on license.
Okay, yeah, because up here,
green tree frogs or the dumpy tree frogs or the green. Is there different? Is there another frog? Another green tree frog? There's a green tree frog, and then there's
white-lipped
white-lip, yeah. So I think you choose this is how strange the licensing system. So you don't have to pass any tests or anything to see if you are skilled enough to keep these animals. Yep. You literally just send money. You get a form. You sign in. You used to have to go to a post office or police station and get it witness the form that you fill in. I don't even think you have to do that now. Yes, if you're over 18, you just have to put your driver's license down there or a form of identification. You send it off, and about 6 weeks later, they send you a piece of paper in the mail, and that's your license. And then you have to just every year renew that license around September. I think the 31st of September or something, you renew your license. You pay the same amount.
Yep.
Now, the same goes for the advanced license. But the problem is, on an advanced license, you can keep venomous snakes and all. You can keep the most venomous snakes in the world on an advanced license. Yet there's no test or anything involved. This is what I don't get.
Yeah, up here for venomous, you have to do the husbandry course.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's the process with you guys? So tell us about your different licenses in New South Wales.
You have class 1, which is apply online.
Yeah,
and you'll get it.
Yeah.
Then class 2, non-venomous.
Yep.
And then you also have, I think they're still split, like amphibian class 1, amphibian class 2.
Yeah.
Because you used to have frog keeping license and a reptile keeping license, but they merged them into an animal keeper's license.
Yeah.
And what does you have a whole bunch of classes of venomous stuff, like venomous 3 and then 4.
Yeah. And
but to get through those bits, you have to have references.
So, but tell me, in your on class 1, what can you keep on a class 1 license? Is there a certain cap at a certain number per species?
So you can't. No. You can keep whatever you want, and you can. You just can't have perennies, rough skull pythons, green trees, green tree pythons, scrub pythons. You can still have olives that are, 7 meters long. Yeah, no problem. Blackheads.
But and then on a class 2, you can have those Parentes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but so there's no,
for whatever reason. Yeah. I think rough scales are on there because they're rare at the time. Mm-hmm. Obviously not rare now. Yeah, and I don't see the science behind how that happened.
Is there any qualifying criteria for you to pass from class 1 to class 2, or do you just pay more money?
Yeah, no, you gotta keep class 1 for 2 years and then get a reference.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to text my son to bring me some water because my mouth.
Oh, you're gonna be dry, eh?
Feels like the desert. Sorry, people. I know we've got all one viewer.
Professional.
Yep. Okay, so and then for your venomous, you need to get references from how many people? So who can give you a reference to get a venomous to get a license to keep venomous snakes?
2.
And who are these people? Who do they have to be?
People that have a venomous, like if they've got a level 3 and you want to go level 3, you got to get level 3 to endorse you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there's even levels in that license as well.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it goes to 3 and 4 because I've only ever gone to class 2. That's it, and then I just have my snake catcher's license, which is a nightmare to get. So.
Okay. So but you do have to do a course or something to get that, a course and references, or just the references
For which one?
for the venomous.
Yeah, so I don't know if the course is mandatory.
Yeah.
But there are people that do that.
Yeah.
And then you have to have the references. I'm going to say the course is like sort of mandatory.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which is just like, cleaning like how you clean a cage, how you trap them, all that sort of stuff. How you safely handle them, how you lock them.
Yeah. I always wonder why they make it so easy. If it's animals involved, I can understand that adds another level of complexity to the license system. But if there's animals involved, especially specialized things like reptiles, then I've always felt that there should be a course that should be endorsed by the government, that people should go through. I mean, we learn how to do everything in life, whether it's at school or at university or whatever, to look at. And I think it would. Doing a short course. I mean, it doesn't have to be a massive thing. It could be a day course on reptile husbandry.
Yeah.
It would prepare people a little bit better, especially in a country that's licensed. Like like in America, and other countries, you can keep whatever you feel like keeping.
You can go buy an anaconda.
Yeah.
You've got the money.
I'm just thinking that it might curb some of the neglect that we see, and some of the, if it's a government in course, but then of course, which course is suitable, because there's so many different ways to keep reptiles, so what's going to be the right way? But I'm sure that the zoos, would have a rough guideline of what to do and how to do, and just give you a basic, so you can break the courses down into lizards.
There are
or
people offering basic husbandry courses here now, around where I live. But I don't know if it's a mandatory. I don't think it is a mandatory requirement. It's just they advertise it, and people go and deliver the course, which is good.
Yeah. Here we go. Even better than the course is a mentorship program with seasoned keepers and catchers. A course is just a basic guideline. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could also work, but then you get the smart asses as well that think they already know a lot. A lot of people don't want to be mentors; they want to be experts from day one.
You've also got the Australian thing of a lot of people don't like having other people in their collections. It's sort of a hard one,
And we've got some hardcore diseases at the moment as well, so it's not. It's not always. But if somebody's new and fresh and hasn't got, if it's a prerequisite to keep reptiles, then having somebody in your collection helping you maintain the animals for, say, like a apprentice style thing.
Yep.
And having them in there and getting signed off after 4 sessions that you've helped, and there's a certain amount of guys that are willing for it. I mean, it's complex though. It's very complex. But I can see a lot of the basic error keepers being cleared up by stuff like that. If they if people are expected to do something like that before they get issued with a permit. I mean, it's a long term, especially when it's a hobby that can take over your whole bloody life.
Yeah, I'm just concerned, like I was saying before with the iguana. I touched on the iguana thing. Like, America gets it in.
Yeah,
they've already got stuff in. There's no body here in Australia to fight with lawyers. Legislated law. Yeah. We've got nothing. So it'll just go in and that's it. Whatever expert at the time, like the cage requirements for New South Wales, is what went in, and that's it.
You went a few times to the NARBC when they had those auctions and stuff for US ARC.
Yeah.
I mean, they just embraced. I mean, there was. I remember in the early days there was a bit of turmoil there when they had the old president split off and start his own thing, and US ARC had to sort of find their feet again and get Phil Goss. I think Phil Goss is still the president of US ARC there. Well, he's the chairman. Is he the chairman? Yeah. But I mean, it's
we'll
like
probably get him on. Talk about it.
Oh, we should. I mean, I'm sure the guys that over there would have a number for him, and I've reached out to him in the past on Facebook. It'd be nice to have somebody like that over on and just explain what makes US ARC tick and why it's so important to have a body like that to look out for the people that's
Yeah.
local, you know, and the
Well,
fact that the
like
Aussie,
all those, like I've been to a number of those auctions they have at the NARBC,
yeah,
and it's basically, they'll sell a box of donuts, and a bloke like Ty will buy it for $5,000 because that money goes to US Arc to fight the government.
yeah,
That's all it's for.
and it's really for those guys that do put the money into it that they cover. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
how many times have they warded off an attack from the bloody, from the lobbyists? It's
Yeah.
crazy. The government itself is
Well,
against
they
that
have a
whole
lot
thing.
of bodies there, don't they? They have Humane Society, PETA.
Yeah.
There's another one that gives them hell all the time. They're always fighting. I can't remember the name of it. Another acronym.
Humane Society.
It is Humane Society.
What's the Humane Society of America? What are there's another. Yeah, well, I'm sure somebody in America will watch the show and correct us. It looks okay. I think is our sound and the guys out there, the sound okay and the videos all right? Yeah. It's already happening in Queensland. Venomous are capped at 20, so in reality, you need to get a permission to breed them. Yeah, I don't know.
There's the thing. They take a little bit. They take a little bit.
A little bit more.
And one day, you can't get, like, we can't move green tree pythons.
And isn't it Parentis as well now?
Parentis now, yeah.
And they never relayed that information. They never asked people their input, you know?
No, I only knew about it because I went to import.
Yeah,
I did my import permit like a good boy from Michael up in Cairns.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't give it to me.
So what have you? Well, you've got just one. What have you got? A boy or girl? Did you? Sorry, I was reading Rob's comments down here.
I did have a green tree python. I don't anymore. But if you want to get one, you have to get it. There are green tree pythons here, obviously.
Yeah, I know. Brent was trying to get some, and nobody breeds them. There used to be a lot of guys specializing in green tree pythons, and this is now Australia, people. So I mean, we're both in Australia. So for those of you that are joining in from overseas. In New South Wales, where Colin lives, they made it hard now. It used to be a lot of people that made them, and now it's sort of
because they can't determine the origin of the animal. And Michael gave all that information. He had the hereditary tree.
Michael Cermak.
Yeah, and they still knocked it back. Like, we went back and forth a few times.
Yeah,
and basically the people looking at the information don't know what they're looking at. Yeah. And it was an actual certified. This is where I got it from. This is what I bred it with. 20 generations later, that's what I sold Colin.
Yeah, and they don't care.
So it's it's already starting, and they like you said, they don't advertise it. It's just you go to apply for a permit, can't get it. Why?
And that's a reason.
No one can answer you why.
Yeah, it's like it's like Lynn that breeds the beardies up in Sydney. You know, she's told me how many times has she sent emails to the department and they just ignore the emails.
Yeah, you get the bounce back. We'll be back to you in 10 days and never hear from them again. Like I was saying with the snake catcher's permit, like I sent you got to renew it every year. So you don't have to pay for it, but you have to have insurance, do the course, and provide a logbook of all the catches you do.
Yeah.
So you do that, update your insurance, send it in, don't hear nothing. And then 6 months later, you get an email saying, oh, your insurance is out of date. Can you send a new copy? We're just renewing your license. I'm like, I sent all the stuff when it was time to renew month before, and you 6 months later saying my insurance is out of date. I've already got a new certificate of currency. Yeah, I'll send you that. And then you send them that. Another 6 months goes by and you don't hear from them. And then, oh, this is out of date now. It's just like, oh my God, It's just impossible. Like, it's like, must be one person that's part-time every 6 months doing the emails.
Look at this, Mr. Positivity again. I'd love to get in on the greens trees. It's a matter of time before they vanish in New South Wales. Come on, mate. Have you had a rough? Did you have a rough week at work? Yeah, come on. Let's cheer up. Yeah. We're gonna make a difference. Watch. There's big things.
No, but just people need to be aware. Like, they're because they're considering green tree pythons exotic because they can't determine the origin because they do occur off islands off Australia or Indonesia, and they're saying they're exotic. Some may be, some may not be, but like if you go to any pet store now, you can buy a leatherback bearded dragon.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're
and I
there.
know that didn't. I know that didn't originate from here.
Yeah, no, we know that. I know that. Let's not go in there. Let's just go. Let's just avoid. It's like bearded dragons arrived in America as well on a little ship with a little passport,
Yeah.
and they just sort of started there and they turned into the biggest,
Hey,
biggest.
if you talk to Tommy Crutchfield, he'll tell you
Tell you
he's
the
responsible
history.
for a lot of that sort of stuff. And he
Yeah.
can tell you, yeah, I bought the pizza for this guy and I was outside the restaurant when this happened. He's a pretty cool guy to talk to. He's been there and done that.
That's it, like that's the old legends, we can get so critical of the old troublemakers in the industry, but without the troublemakers, there really is no industry.
Oh, well, like you can get critical of people and all that, but like if you have a reptile, like that didn't just pop out of midair. That come from the wild at some stage and been bred. So
Yeah. And let's face it, it's all controlled by the government, and they at some stage didn't allow any of that. So if it did pop up, there's way. Yeah. But let's not go into the into the darkness. Let's stay into the light. What did Robert did he say? I'd like to be. Oh yes, Rob again. I'd like to be one that makes a difference. Yeah, look, I think now that the conversation's happening
now
again,
you know what to breed, Rob. New South Wales green tree pythons.
And you can just apply for a Class 2 license whenever you get your shit together. I mean, how many months have you been?
And click the button and get your Class 1.
Yeah,
that's the start.
The worst thing is, I remember, I think I was in Australia for like a month, and I couldn't get I was on there on that phone the whole time to get them to issue that license. And they just hang on. It takes like 6 to 8 weeks, but it's 6 weeks. I was harassing the living crap out of them, and then the next.
Can imagine.
Yeah. After 6 weeks, I had my license. I had my first reptile. Rob, come on. There's a time and a place for everything. The time is now. Just swipe that bank card, get over the internet. They'll send it to you straight to your email, and bang, you can go out and get yourself a lizard or a snake.
With rat snakes, guys stop breeding them.
And
now you can hardly find them. That's right. That's what happens. They become out of vogue, and people don't do it anymore.
They're not trendy enough anymore.
Not trendy, yeah.
And you know what?
At the moment in Australia, I don't really know anymore.
Yeah, and people don't smuggle them into Australia anymore. Green tree pythons at one stage was the thing.
Yeah.
To bring into the country. And now.
But what is popular now in Australian herpetoculture? What is the thing? There's always one animal that everyone has to have. Like, say Expo, what is everyone going out to buy at the expos at the start now?
I don't know. I think it's blue tongues.
Still blue tongues.
You reckon it's blue tongues?
Yeah, well, like we're right at the forefront with that.
Yeah.
In Australia, so and then that one that was brought out of the wild and it's going into the breeding program. That sort of sparked it up again.
But do you think it's going to actually go into a breeding program? Colin's talking about this piebald dish. I reckon it was a piebald dish.
It will. It'll go in there, and it's just like the original, blue tongue. See,
the black and the white ones that ended up with the snake ranch that went through the Australian Reptile Park, and we're not, we're not criticizing anything. We just know how it works.
No, because I was volunteering at the reptile park.
Yeah,
and they had the het albinos.
Yeah.
And you weren't allowed to touch that cage, blah blah. This is before Snake Ranch was around. I was feeding funnel webs all day on a Saturday.
Oh yeah,
that was a fun job I did. Unpaid volunteer work at the reptile park.
Yeah,
and there was one crate there that had het albinos that were babies.
Yeah.
Bred the albino that they got from Redhead in Newcastle here.
Yeah,
and made some heads.
There's some history there. I mean, and then I think Joe bought all those projects from Snake Ranch when I think a few years back he brought all those projects.
The Eastern albino back then was pretty much rubbish,
Yeah. But do you really think that? Because to me that lizard looked like a pied because it had that that distinct, it had the white. It had the white areas, and then it had the pattern that wasn't patterned. That's a typical.
So hopefully it does, because there's no mad science of breeding blue tongue, so they will breed it.
Yeah.
But it'll be a couple of years. It's just interesting that there's no link to Snake Ranch because that's how the blue tongues and the blacks
used to filter out.
the black blue tongue was found. The original one was found on the northern beaches,
Yeah. Oh, I
sitting
don't
on
know.
sitting on a rock,
Just basking, having
just basking. Yeah.
having a great time. Yeah.
And-
And I can guarantee you, the guy that's found it didn't realize its worth 20
no,
or 10 years down the line.
no.
You know, he wouldn't have known what the potential was with that and the way that the hobby was moving.
No.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I think I said it in the other show last night. You know, I think over the last few years, a lot of the blue tongues, they're still popular, but they've been filtering out. The blue tongues have been filtering out overseas.
Yeah.
You know, I know for a fact that the Asians were, and this is not a nitpick, but I know that the guys were saying that at the expos there was early in the morning, there was groups of people, Asian people at the stands, and they would buy all the blue tongues up, and you would never see those blue tongues again.
That's right. Yeah.
And there's so many guys posting photos on Instagram of Western blue tongues and albino blue tongues and black blue tongues overseas in China and Indonesia and Malaysia and all those places.
Yep.
That's definitely, it was just funneled out. Now you know
And then they're also running, like, a couple of mates in America wanted a black blue tongue.
Yeah.
They found him in Indonesia, paid the money. It was a scam.
Oh, really?
No, like, I think they dropped, I think it was like 7 or 10K
Gee.
American to get these things over there.
There's a lot of scamming across it because it's so easy
Of course there is.
to deal internationally now as well with shipping reptiles internationally now, that it's easy to scam somebody if you've got a unique, you know, all you have to do is to come over here and visit a shop and take photos of a black blue tongue in a cage. Go back to your country, use those photos and say to somebody, these are the blue tongues that I've got. You know, you do a search online, you don't find those photos, and then you
use the PayPal account to put the money into.
Yeah, man, it's turned a bit. So yeah, I think I'm happy with the quality of the stream. I think we've been going for an hour now. I don't want. Yeah, it flies when you're having fun talking.
At least we had stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we're not just staring at each other's handsome faces. Huh?
Yeah, that'd get old quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, no, it's good, James. Yeah, so James still thinks blue tongues. Like, James bred a lot of blue tongues.
Yeah.
Got a lot of blue tongues off James. I don't breed blue tongues anymore.
Yeah.
But it was a good time breeding them. So.
And you know what? This year, now that the smugglers have all been taken out of the circulation, suddenly you see the classifieds have stuff like lace monitors on it again now. It's like, seriously, you never saw laces like.
Brennies will be back now.
Yeah, but seriously, I don't know if you noticed the last 5 years, you could never find baby lace monitors on.
Never find a baby Brenny, like, unless you knew you put your name on it.
Yeah, and you could find and blue tongues, even blue tongues, you could never find baby blue tongues.
Yeah,
they were just and now coming
classified now too. With Facebook's made it super hard to find anything.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's like it suddenly, you know, the classified sites in Australia, suddenly there's dozens of ads for black and white and alabaster. You know, you see stuff from Joe Joe's pumping out the stuff as well.
Yeah.
But you see the stuff suddenly appearing now for sale.
Yeah.
You see people actually selling stuff. You see this is going to a good home, and you see people actually posting photos of those baby lizards.
Yeah.
So I think they've really cracked down on it, you know, and I think it's a good thing for us locally, you know, with our industry, just to drive some of the demand down as well locally, because a lot of the pricing's also, you know, it's ballooning the pricing on some of the morphs. I mean, like stuff like the black blue tongues used to be like, what's it, $300, $500 a lizard?
$300 to $500. Now they're back up around $1,000 or something like that.
You know, and that's all because of. You know, because you couldn't find them the last few years because they were all being shipped over to China.
But also with that black, there is problems.
Oh, yeah. I've heard people say they just drop off and you know.
Yeah.
So. They are impressive, though. I mean, they are definitely one of a good, solid black blue tongue. I mean, there's nothing that beats those things. Man, they're crazy looking. Especially like the whites and the blacks. So the white next to if I ever, like...
The yin and the yang.
Yeah, if I ever decided to go into blue tongues, I mean, that's the only thing. I would breed black ones and I breed white ones, and I can guarantee you that you'd sell out all those lizards every year.
Yeah.
Price might come down a little bit, but if you can strengthen the lines, if you can get the northern outcross black blue tongue. Sorry, we all over with our discussion tonight. But if you can get the black blue tongues outcross with the northerns, to get the really big ones, man, that's like a dog. It's like owning a dog. Those things, they're big, robust. They give you a good bite as well if they.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the northerns will leave a mark on you like a big tokay. No, it would be worse than a tokay gecko bite,
No, nothing's worse than a tokay gecko bite. Holy hell.
Yeah? You've had one?
I've seen someone get one, and that was enough for me.
Yeah, no, they like
when they bite and they scream as well?
Yeah, you shit yourself just because of the blood pissing out. And
I didn't know they had teeth like that, but
and you can see the gels, their eyes actually pop in, like sort of squeeze in, and the gels just come in. It's like
I love when they scream when they bite you.
It's like
the person screaming that gets bit.
It's like a clamp going down on something. Screaming. It's like, did you see that? Have you seen that lady on Facebook that just deals with? There's this woman on Facebook that had a page, and she works with only tokays. And she literally takes those suckers out of their cages onto her hand, and they do nothing. I watched a video. She's like a tokay whisperer. I did watch one video though where she was confident taking a wild caught one. She's like, the video's like, watch these wild caught tokays. They're so aggressive, and she did like 5 or 6 of them, and then she took out one, and that guy just decided this is time for a blood match, And man, he clamped onto it. She says, I guess not, and they just hang off. And they just
get confident around reptiles, but
I think my worst bite was from was from a white throat monitor when I was maybe 20, and that guy grabbed me. He grabbed me right on the skin here, and he just clamped down, and that lizard did not let go. I had to put him under. I had to run a bath and hold him under the water, and he still wouldn't let go.
Yeah, 45 minutes later underwater, yeah.
And he was like, I couldn't believe that this lizard was just going. I eventually took him off, and there was just blood pouring out everywhere. And he wasn't even that big. He must have been probably about that large. But he was a wild-caught lizard that somebody gave me, and I thought, he looks all right, And then just bang.
Right.
Yeah. Bang. Rob's still going. Tokay bites suck. Yep. How did your son bring your? Yeah, it did bring me water. Yeah, got the old dry.
You missed that, Rob. You must have stepped away or something.
I just need to adjust. So, I think that's we don't have to go for much longer. We'll organise somebody to come on the show. At least you can share this link to one of your heavies, your mates over there in the
heavies, yeah. But people need to go. This is broadcast on Carpet Pythons.
No. This is only going on to the Reptile News Facebook page and onto the and on YouTube's. There's a channel there called Reptile News. You'll see it.
There is now. Okay.
Yeah, it's always been one, and there's just you'll see the logo.
People need to go and subscribe.
Yeah, that'd be good. There's 12 people now. You see, so the longer you let the show go, the more people join in. Yeah. They just like to sit there in the shadows and lurk a little bit and just
comment. Just Rob comments the whole time.
I don't chase away our one loyal subscriber, Colin.
Yeah. As soon as it came on, boom, he's there. G'day, guys.
Yeah, he said I missed that. Must have been eyeballing to see if the wife's watching my snake activity. Yeah, you need to be discreet. That's what I always say. We run a discreet.
Up your game, Rob. Up your game.
Yep, we run a discreet service at Reptile News. Keep up with the latest news. And then I don't think there's anything further. We can say highly recommend going to see some of those channels. Justin Kabilko, go and have a look at his new facility. Brian Barczyk, go and check out his reptarium that he's putting together. It's refreshing. It's refreshing to see a keeper moving into more naturalistic environments. I mean, it's not your full on.
And he looks like a little. Like a little kid seeing a reptile for the first time when he's putting that retic in the cage. It's pretty cool.
But you know what? I guess it does numb you down to see them in racks all the time because they don't do much.
No, like I still have racks, but it's sort of, to me, it's like, well, I like seeing what the snake's doing, or
I mean, I think that was when in the good old days when I had like 600 plus reptiles. It's sort of we get into we get into the hobby because we like to see we like to look at the animals. It's their shape and their form and their iridescence and their scalation. It's the detail in them. And then you hide them behind. And I'm not saying, I'm not having a dig at anybody with racks and stuff. Racks have got their place in the hobby.
Their place, yeah.
Yeah, but that's why we like reptiles. Because they've got the different forms, geckos that stick onto walls, things that use their tongues as projectiles to catch food, things with fins on their backs and necks and gular crests and horns on their noses and stuff,
Ryan's new enclosure is a top shelf, which he has spent a lot of money on, but you can do similar things with way less money.
Yeah, I like that jigsaw type of frames that he makes, where you've got your uprights that are certain and you can just add more to make it higher, add less to make it lower.
Yeah.
And you've got the depth, a lot of reptiles. I think a lot of people go, like this. Who decided that a good cage size was 1.2 meters by 600 by 600? Who decided that was a good size cage? Because a lot of reptiles like a lower cage, stuff like blue tongues. Yeah. You could have a cage that's 30i, 40i, and have a lot more, and have it deeper, have it 900 deep or meter deep, and have it 2 meters wide. And that blue tongue, you can have a lot of them in a cage that size, or you can have a small group of them in there. But they'd rather use that floor space than have that roof space. I mean,
that's right. Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense with the standard sizes. The standard sizes.
I think people went that way because you can buy sheets at certain sizes and people don't cut them.
Yeah, and you can get certain value out of a sheet. Get 2 out of 1, or
That's
one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sad, but it's good to see the guys moving in that direction and spending money on the animals that we love. So
yeah. All right.
Are we gonna call it a night?
We are, mate. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we both want to get back to our families, but this has been good. We'll decide on a night, and I'll start promoting a day or a night when we'll get back to everybody on the page, and we'll let people know when there's going to be an official show. We'll get a guest on. We're going to try our best to have a guest on every time. I'm going to reach out to that Phil Goss from US Arc and see if we can have him on and just get a rundown. We'll split the screen into 3, and we'll see if we can have a rundown and see, and then people can join. We can let all the big guys know as well, if they want to pipe in about this legislation because we want to cover everything that's happening in the reptile industry all across the world. Yeah. If you've got anything that we should know about it that you want us to share, please let us know.
So we can research.
Yep, we'll do a little bit of research. We get the right people to cover the right topics. If you want to know about something, we'll try and find our best to get a special like a specialist in that, or professional in that field.
Because we don't know everything.
No, and we're just here to talk, and we just enjoy spreading the love.
Let it organically go from there.
What's that?
Let it organically go from there.
Yeah, organically. We'll get the guy on. We'll ask him questions, how he started, the basic stuff, and then we'll just dive in and analyze. We'll analyze, huh?
Yeah.
And we'll just tear it apart, and just we'll give people a breakdown. So. But everybody, thank you very much for watching. There's a few people there's actually a few. There's actually the most people watching now. So I mean, we'll build it. We need hundreds of. We need a community here. So
yeah.
But thanks for the guys that have stuck through for the last hour. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys. We'll let you know when the next show's on, and keep an eye out for that. Thank you very, very much, and have a good night.